In today's society, we continue to grapple with how best to recognize and treat the mentally ill. Too many people with mental illness end up in the street, in jail, or in the hospital, and cycle repeatedly through the criminal justice and public health systems because they lack access to proper care. Here in Bexar County, Texas, the Center for Healthcare Services, in collaboration with local authorities, is implementing two innovative programs. In this video, you will hear from mental health providers, law enforcement officers, and mental health consumers about the need for these programs and their success to date.
Health services are very different here in Bexar County. They're different in that we are one of the largest communities in the country and probably the first to merge mental health services, drug and alcohol services, with the general health care system.
Mentally ill are everywhere in our community, so everywhere is where we should be involved.
These programs bring to Bexar County really an integration of services, bringing together services from different areas to help people that is sorely needed. We really have fragmentation and different funding streams, and it just makes a huge difference when they come together and help people.
Jail diversion redirects mentally ill offenders to the clinical system instead of the criminal justice system. Cognitive adaptation training helps persons with schizophrenia stay off the street and out of the hospital. Both programs save lives and taxpayer dollars. Jail diversion in Bexar County includes crisis intervention teams, deputy mobile outreach teams, and 24/7 crisis services.
As a guy that had a mental illness, and he would say the Lord's Prayer to kind of drive these thoughts out of his head. And he was in McDonald's disturbing their customers, so they called the police. The police didn't know what to do, so he went to jail for saying the Lord's Prayer and stayed there a long time.
In the downtown area, there's a high concentration of homeless people that are mentally ill, and a lot of the times you find those people wandering around aimless or hopeless, and also committing petty crimes, which really could be prevented if they just had access to some medical care.
We have 300 to 500 people in the county jail on a daily basis. 2/3 to 3/4 have severe mental illness with minor offenses. Most of those people should be diverted in the future. Well, you're probably talking about millions of dollars.
For most of the officers, the only alternative is, I've got this call, I've now got this guy or woman in my car, I've got to do something with them, there's nobody can help me, they have committed a minor crime, so we take them to jail.
Of course, that's inappropriate, to put somebody in jail for their mental illness. We don't put people with diabetes in jail for having diabetes.
In the first year of operation, we diverted 996 people. That's 996 people that would have gone to jail.
An officer who's been CIT trained I believe will probably deal with a call that involves a person with mental illness differently than the normal San Antonio police officer.
What we're doing now with our crisis training is that we're saying to that officer, if you make an assessment, you now have an option of contacting mental health. We have 24/7 services for crisis.
When you go through the course, which is a week long, you learn many things: the tactics, the active listening skills, how to talk to someone with depression, what are the signs of schizophrenia. The neat thing about the course itself is it allows you to adjust the way you would normally handle your call.
The training for CIT officers really covers a range of how to handle crises, to not necessarily resolving them, but referring them to the appropriate place, to familiarize them at a greater level with the different types of mental illnesses that they more than likely run into, to give them an enhanced awareness.
My cell phone rang, and I answered, and he said, "This is Officer," and I wish I could remember his name. He had a very kind voice. He said, "I have your son, Danny," and I said, "What happened?" He said he walked into an apartment complex and spent the night there, and I have him in my car, and he's acting very strangely. And I said, "Sir, he's schizophrenic." I said, can I please call you in a little while? Can you give me your number so that I can find out what happens to Danny? And he said, sure. He called me and let me know where he was taking him. And I knew it was something very different that ordinarily wouldn't have happened, because other times he would have been arrested and taken downtown.
The Deputy Mobile Outreach Team was created about 3 years ago in a collaboration between Center for Healthcare Services and the Bexar County Sheriff Department. And the purpose was to create a unique program in San Antonio that would service the mentally ill regarding on-site evaluation. So basically we have a peace officer from the Bexar County Sheriff Department and a licensed professional counselor from the Center for Healthcare Services, and together what we do as a team, we go out to the community, to the homes of the mentally ill, in an attempt to assess for any kind of crisis in order to be able to determine what kind of medical treatment they might need at the time.
In the past, if somebody was picked up with bizarre behavior or digging a trash can or criminal trespassing or whatever, law enforcement officers really know that they're not criminals, but they don't know what to do with them. They do know they want to mail their squad car.
Right after our very first CIT training, there was a call to 7-Eleven. An individual had gone in and he drank a Coke. He didn't pay for that Coke. Well, needless to say, the store owner got a little upset. Well, police were called. First officer shows on the scene. Backup officer shows up. Backup officer is a CIT officer, one of our very first ones. So the first officer says to the CIT officer, says, oh, this guy, he's going to jail. I've arrested him 14, 15 times. He won't even talk to you. So we'll just go ahead and cuff him. Let's go. And the CIT officer says, well, wait a minute, what's he doing? He says, he won't talk to you. So what do you mean he won't talk to you? He never talks to you. So the CIT officer says, well, wait a minute. Let me just talk to him. So he went over and immediately recognized the symptomology, and the person was floridly psychotic. And then, sure enough, it turns out, and he says, look, it's a 59-cent Coke. Let's take him to 7-Eleven East Josephine.
Our mandate is to see anybody who walks in here within an hour to be screened. And in that screening, again, it's determined whether they're emergent, urgent, or routine.